Dayton, two things. First of all, not trying to box you in, kind of to follow up what Lynn was asking about, where you're at with Keller and
Yeah.
signing guys. But if we go back, I can't remember if it was right after the end of the season or maybe the next time we talked to you. We discussed like maybe things you do differently as you're coming through, like coming out of the championship club and moving forward. And you said one of the things, it was something to the effect of at 4 years is kind of a mark, right? Like, yeah, 4 year players, maybe you can move them a couple of years of control. They have more value. Those guys would seem to be in that spot. And again, not trying to box you and say you got a hard and fast, I got to sign them by then, or they're not going to be here. But is that thinking, has it kind of evolved, and is that part of the process there with those
Uh,
guys?
That's a great question, and you're not boxing me in at all. Those are the same questions I ask myself and I ask of our staff. Of course, when we evaluate a player that we think has got a chance to be successful over the next 4 to 8 years, we want first crack at them. And certainly there's a financial analysis that goes into that. And if it matches up with the medical analysis, the statistical analysis, the scouting analysis, if all of those things match up with the financial analysis, we'll probably get a deal. Sometimes it just doesn't. And if a player's expectations economically, financially are different than what we can do, we have to look for opportunities to maximize his value via trade. We have to be more transactional there. Now, we also have to weigh that with our timeline to win, right? And what this player means to the success of the team, and can we replace him? And Soren, and so that's why it's so incumbent on us to always be very, very strong with transitioning young players through the pipeline to the major leagues, making sure our farm system is producing at a high level. And so if we've got to move on from a player, we're ready to go. And but no, we've got to look at that. And those are good baseball discussions. Those are healthy debates to have as we continue to move forward, as we evaluate our talent and the opportunity to keep them here long term.
And likewise, just kind of briefly, it takes two to tango, right? The other side's got to want to get it done as well.
That's right. That's right. They've got to really want to be here. And, Alex Gordon's situation was very unique in the fact that Alex just really wanted to be here. And I know, after we had won the World Series in 15, he had opportunities financially with other teams that exceeded ours. Um, and we were able to keep him here. But it's, and Soren, what we do is, we sit down with those players that we trust and we believe in. We open up the books. We let them play owner. We let them play GM. This is what players are expected to make through arbitration. These are your teammates. Now, in full disclosure, we ask them if they want to be a part of that. Do they want that information? Some players simply don't. They're not concerned about it. But if I think if you do it that way, you're transparent. At the end of the day, if you're unable to consummate a deal, everybody feels like you gave the best effort. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is the health of the player, the relationship with the player, the future success of the player, with him, his family. And I've always been willing to disadvantage ourselves for the good of somebody else, if need be, because I think in our market, you're not winning the negotiations anyway. If somebody really wants to step up and pay a player. So just lay it all out on the table.
And then my other one, there's been some discussions, is whether it's outsiders connecting dots and coming up with their own theories about the season being pushed back a little bit. Maybe just give more time, get vaccines out there, maybe get more full stadiums. And it was almost like Mike might have been reading from a script there at the beginning that Major League Baseball said we're all going on time and everything. But then you mentioned, we don't know if we're going to be playing double headers. They're going to be 7-inning ones.
Yeah.
So is that at least, I mean, are you at liberty to say, is that a discussion about maybe holding off to May or something?
No, absolutely. I'll tell you what I know at this point in time. And when I talk about double headers and things like that, nobody's told me that from Major League Baseball. We are just thinking through the different scenarios, as is 29 other baseball operations department, because we've realized that it's very difficult, as much as we like to be proactive during situations like this, oftentimes we're reacting to events and information that we get. And we just have to be prepared for that. But I really believe, Soren, that we will start spring training on time. I just have that feeling. We have several players, as you all know, throughout the industry or that are already training in Arizona or Florida. Now, they're expected to adhere to the protocols that Major League Baseball has put in place. They're respecting those protocols. Baseball players are very disciplined people. They're very smart people. They understand, at least by now, they've had several family members and teammates and people in their communities that have been sick. This virus affects everybody differently. They understand that. They're smart. And they are part of this decision-making process. And so they're adhering to the protocols. They're doing what we need to do. And so will the season start on time? As long as we are safe and we're healthy and players continue to do what they've been asked to do, and we manage this in an effective way, which we've been doing, I think there's a good chance. But it's out of my control, Soren. The other sports are playing. We played. We're going to be optimistic. We're going to expect our message to our players. In fact, I was just with Nick Kinney before I came up, our head athletic trainer, speaking to Mike on a daily basis. The message to our players is be ready to go at the regular time. Let's not disadvantage ourselves mentally by thinking worst case scenario. Let's think best case scenario, and then we'll adjust from there.